Robert from the 817, where are you calling from, and what is your question for Tyler?
And Tyler, calling from Dallas-Fort Worth, and my name is Robert Nahosa, and I started a website not long ago called winbusiness.com. It's like a question and answer community site
for
business entrepreneurs and small business users.
Cool.
And so my question is, like, in a build versus buy scenario for startups like me, what's your feeling on the buy for actually using that for your core business? Like, how do you deal with the varying cost factors on both sides of the equation? Like, so like on the one side, we've got like the positives. It's a brand new hosting service, similar to the CrowdFusion product from TechCrunch 50. It's the same engine that powers StackOverflow.com for like the software developers out there. They use it.
So I see it right now. Did they Stack Overflow make that open source?
No, it's not open source. It's a completely hosted solution. So you just pay a monthly fee, but you do get engine. And me being a software developer myself, I know how good it works. But at the same time, if I want to build a company on it, it's a risk, because if the company does grow, if the community grows,
what are they charging for it?
Well, to start out, for 1 million page views, it's only $129 a month. I mean, it's super cheap. And then once you get up to 10 million, it's $1,000 a month. And then hosting is $2,500, or for hosting on your own rack. But,
so pretty cheap.
It's still not. Yeah.
So the question is, I guess the question is, you got to add features and whatever. So I think this depends on two things. One, how much resources you have, and how big do you want to build the business. If you have a lot of resources and you think this is going to be a huge business, you can spend the, $200,000 it will take to build a Q&A service like this. It might take you 6 months or a year to build out this software, which is probably correct. I would guess it's going to cost. Maybe on the cheap you could make a simple one in 2 months for $50,000 in programming time, but this is not super easy to do. I know, because we have Mahalo Answers, which is very similar, and Yahoo Answers, etc. So I think that's really what you have to contend with. If this was, you raised $4 million from venture capitalists and you're going to build a whole Q&A service for people, well, then you're going to want to do it with your own software. But if you're doing this as a hobby and you're going to see if you can turn it into a business, maybe it's okay to start with this, because you'll get started quicker.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is really short lead time into getting it online and everything. And, I mean, it's just about building the community. That's really the product, is the community and the valuable content that they provide. So, that's cool.
And so where do you see that Stack Overflow software? How do you get that? You go to Stack Overflow? Or is it...
StackExchange.com is the provider. So, the company itself is actually Fog Creek Software.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Like
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, they're a reputable company and everything. But if they decide, I'm just going to pull the plug on this, and it's not worth it for us to go through all these headaches with all these sites, all these QA sites, then I'm stuck and I've got a community. But at the same time, it really is low cost entry. So I would only be losing my community.
As long as you back up your data and you back up your community information and you have the ability to export it, I don't think they're going anywhere. It's pretty reputable. So I would start here, get it to scale, and then think about doing your own if you need more control.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Thanks.
When you can outsource stuff, you should. Earlier in your career and you have less resources, you should outsource. When you start to have more resources, you can do more stuff in-house. So, for example, Weblogs Inc., I insisted that we have a content platform. I got Brian Alvey to be my partner in the business specifically because I knew he had built 3 or 4 content management systems before that, and that was the match made in heaven. I was the brains on the editorial and the sales side and the corporate side. He was the brains on the tech side and the publishing side in terms of publishing software. And so when we got bought by AOL, they actually bought both companies, one a year after the other. So they bought Weblogs Inc., and then they bought Blogsmith, our software. And now he's doing CrowdFusion, which is like his 10th, which is really good. But it was critical. That's how we beat Gawker and we beat all these other sites, was because we had tools And then Nick Denton always says, if I could change anything, I would have built my software from the ground up from the beginning, because he built on top of, I think, not WordPress, the other one, Movable Type, and he hated it, and he had all kinds of problems, and sites going down, and we always had an advantage because we were building our own software. So it really depends on the amount of resources you have, and if you're earlier in your career, sure, use somebody else's, and then as you get more resources, build your own. And actually, Mahalo is a good example of that. We built Mahalo 1.0 on MediaWiki. Mahalo 2.0 we built on our own. Mahalo 2.0, now I look back on it, we shouldn't have started on MediaWiki. Well, we should have got off MediaWiki probably 6 months earlier. MediaWiki got us up to 4 million uniques a month. Mahalo 2 took us from 4 million to 12 million uniques a month. And Mahalo 3.0 will take us even further. So never too soon to start building your own platform. And when you get bought and you have an exit, owning the platform adds a lot of value to the company.
Right.
So,
okay.
But then again, for some other things, I'm not saying you should build a database product. You should use MySQL, Cassandra, Hadoop for those kind of components, or Apache. You shouldn't build a web server.
Sure.
You catch my drift.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man.
Gotcha.
Be cool.
All right, thanks.
You've been watching This Week in Startups. To watch the full episode, click here. To check out some other shows from This Week In, click here.